Hello, and welcome to the Sheep Seats. I'm your host, Matthew, aka Sheep, aka Dark Sheep, and today I am joined by, let me play the music again. Playing the music again. What did I hit? Stop that. Okay. Today I'm joined by Mike Laake, who will be here in a moment. He got stuck at the restaurant, so he's tweeting pictures of his margarita, and he's still busy finishing up his margarita. So yeah, welcome everybody. What's up, Brian? Hopefully you can get in the draft. Yeah, Billy Joe, welcome. Hopefully it's not a disaster yet. The guest is gone. I'm playing the music. The DJ Sheep remix. That little jingle is written by my friend from high school. So he's he makes music in his free time for fun, and he made that for me. Oh, and I don't have the screen shared. Oh, Easy's trying to tempt me here. So he was trying to fill a perfect game 30 minutes ago. I think. What's up, GMC? I think we're just gonna do a dinger though. I know a few people were. Yep, cool. Could not detect my location. Thanks, Underdog. This is perhaps turning into a disaster stream. But I did just load this, and usually the refresh works. There we go. So yeah, hopefully we are waiting for 3 people. Hopefully if you wanted to get in here, you can get in here. And we are full. But yeah, if you're we got a full house. We got a full house. A lot of people we know in here. We got Wu-Tang Killer Bees, a guest last week when we did draft a perfect game. You can go check that out. 3 of us on our teams in the perfect game. JMC's in here. LeBron Iverson, I know I've seen you in the comments. Welcome. Billy Joe's here. I'm here. I got a 6 spot. That's looking good. We got Terrence here. T-Bear. Turn Me Up's in here. Easy did get in here. Easy's getting in another one. Nobo Socks in the overflow. I like this idea that I have like enough people that there's gonna be an overflow draft. I feel like it's really making it in this streaming world. He's in, but he's at the 112. But I think he's okay with that. Yeah, definitely some interesting things that Easy was going through on his pregame right before this. That some interesting stacking correlation stuff and all that. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch that. I was sort of prepping and listening, and also, I'll have to send you something easy relating to something you're talking about, James McCann related. But yeah, we did talk. If you are checking this out and you don't know about stacking dingers for some reason, let's see. We're going to take Julio here. No big surprise. If you haven't checked out Stacking Dingers, we do that show. And last week, Nez and I had the interesting pleasure to discuss projections and the bat with Derek Carty. It was a really awesome talk. He's sort of a tough person. He's not a tough person to talk, but his system is his system. So he's very like, it is this way. So sometimes, trying to pry and get it, not like need him to give away his secrets, but just get a little more of the thought process behind things. I think we did a really interesting job talking to him and getting some more details, more than just like he goes on Twitter and he's confident to say the least. But to just dig into that stuff a little bit more, some of his thought processes and how he thinks of things between year to year, and like one of the things was talking about minor league comps. to major league players, and the idea that younger players in the bat are always projected lower. Maybe some of reasons why that is. Did get sniped on Kyle Tucker. Terrence took him from you. Yeah, this is going to be a tough room. Easy is on the Mike Trout train. The lead conductor this year. I haven't talked to Chris about how much Mike Trout he's been taking in his slows, at least in the bullpen. It might have to be a co-conductor on that. But yeah, taking him over Kyle Schwarber is not common, to say the least, but definitely has that ceiling of the guys even higher than Schwarber, whereas Schwarber's probably being drafted, where his ceiling is. Yeah, and if you feel like double drafting Noah, you can get into the next one. Noah, of course, was the third perfect game drafter. Strider goes a little bit later. Usually see him going around this turn. But let's see, what do we have coming up? And really here, there's just like a ton of directions you can go. If you want to push your outfield, or if you want to take one of these anchor infielders. So I think I'm going to take Vlad here. Obviously, one of the and if you're feeling spicy, you can get another perfect game going tonight too. Everybody's out. It must be I don't know. Nobody's got anything to do on this Friday night. Yeah, but one of the things we did talk to Cardi about was Vlad, and some of the players that that project higher in his system than others, and obviously go check that out. But yeah, he's definitely confident, obviously, in his projection of Vlad, and who's higher than pretty much any other system out there. Tonight we are drinking a Bullet pre-mixed Manhattan mix, which is actually pretty good. They have an old-fashioned and Manhattan mix that I've been enjoying. I know, obviously, those are pretty simple cocktails to make, but sometimes it's just easier. Like, what is not convenience that we crave in this world? Yeah, anybody else got a beverage this evening they're sipping on? No Sox is drinking the Bullet. Are you a rye or what on the Bullet? Yeah, a lot of interesting discussion going on right now. We're still Dodgers opened up spring training today. Easy's got the cherry Coke, saving the booze for the big game. Terrence, a nice hot chocolate. I'll have to know. Are you? I assume you're a milk hot chocolate, right? You don't do it in water. You're a man of class, so I'm sure you're making your hot chocolate in milk. An anejo tequila for Billy Joe. We're on the clock. All right. So, a lot of decisions here to make. We can go with one of these outfielders. I've been a big fan of Michael Harris this year and Christian Yelich. But we're going to go the aggressive Nolan Jones route here because I know he's not going to make it back to us. Terrence is having it in oat milk. And we have, maybe they do. I don't know. Maybe they're microscopic. No Bo Sox. Yeah. This is just the bourbon, not the rye. Yeah, I like them both. Yeah, they're pretty nice go-to. That or like the Elijah Craig usually is like whichever one's on sale when I'm buying. My usual go-to for just a little basic whiskey to have and sip on. Yeah, so we're going to take that Nolan Jones pick. But the reason isn't so much Nolan Jones, but I've been wanting more end of the line Colorado stacks. I think there's a lot of interesting late infielders on that team that I have been missing out on. So this is sort of setting up hopefully a mini Colorado correlation at the back end. That's my hope. Which at this point, not to like I'm really tied into this, but I'm going to use the star method here and add my Toronto bats here if they make sense as we're going in the ADP, fitting them in, adding Seattle, which man this is a tough team to stack. If you can figure out this team right, like who's going to be the guy this year along with Julio, I think there's a lot of advantage. I know a lot of, obviously the first one is JP Crawford. And based on his adventures in weighted bat training, we did see a major result last year from that, and a lot of people are into it. Ty France is doing the same training over at Driveline. Here, it's the decision is pretty easy between Bo Bichette and George Springer, or that I want one of those two to go with Vlad, because I think we do know who's going to. If Toronto goes off, we do know who's going to go off with him. Since I have two outfielders, I am going to take Bo here. I think more often, and as Easy was kind of pointing out, a Jones Vlad combo is a little bit rare. I think where Vlad usually goes, in this area here, on the 2-3 turn, he's more likely to get paired with Springer, I think. I don't know that for sure, but yeah, and Mad takes him. Yeah, I guess maybe I'm been influenced on the discussion lately around pitchers and holding off on pitchers, that I've been doing it a little bit more. I haven't drafted too much the last few days, but the other one I did today, I also did hold off. Maybe here recently I would have taken Castillo or Wheeler, who I love just as awesome pitchers, and I think their value is correct relative to the pitching field. If you're taking early pitchers, I think those are the guys I want in this area and have been taking. But this time we are going to push pitcher to a fourth round. We do get two people taking two pitchers, three people at this point. I have been noticing, I don't know if it is the conversation or what exactly is going on, but I do feel like pitching is a little bit depressed at the moment as far as ADPs. See, Hunter Goodman has a 239, so other people are taking him other than me. Let's see what else we got going on here. It doesn't seem like anything crazy. Easy is building a heavy infield build, which is sort of what you need to do over there, or a heavy pitching build at that spot. Nothing else really stands out to me looking over. Wu-Tang gets the pretty common Mets combo here. Pete Alonso, Brandon Nimmo. We're on the clock. I think here we are going to take our first pitcher. Obviously, my gut wants to take Ian Happ as some oatmeal outfield here. I think we're gonna do that. I lied. We're gonna hold off. We're gonna add some Cubs. And as I'm doing this, adding these stacking partners, I'm not necessarily looking to take a stacking partner every time, or I'm not starring them so I get full stacks of only stacks. That should be a website, onlystacks.com. But I want it as I'm drafting to see, when I'm looking at upcoming picks and scrolling down, where are these pieces as I'm trying to build, because, even as much as someone might be able to draft, this is just easier for me to interpret than trying to remember everyone's ADP, exactly where it is and how it's shifting. So this isn't necessarily just because I want to only stack, but just gives me a way to think about the team as I'm building it, and sort of shortcuts me if I'm distracted by something and I have to look back. So obviously every once in a while you end up with the really out of ADP player, which as long as it's one person doesn't really make a difference to the team build generally. But I think that's worth the risk in just how comfortable I am building a team, and saving the brain capacity for other decisions, or maybe you're doing other things while you draft, which I'm sure no one does drafting while they're working. That would be that would just be wrong to all our bosses. Again, if you're just joining, I'm not Mike. Mike should be joining us at some point. He is stuck at the restaurant he was at drinking margaritas. So, all right. So this is pretty tough for me to pass up. Manny Machado here, falling almost 10 spots. I wanted a pitcher here, but this is just ridiculous. I don't know what people are thinking about Manny Machado. Is there some new news? I don't think so. What do they say here? Still the latest. Elbow surgery. Yeah, nothing new here about any change in timetable. But even then, with Vlad and Bo, it's just they can carry this team if necessary. If Machado misses a month or whatever, that he's still recovering. But if he was fully healthy, he'd be going. With this. I don't know if he'd be going in the Pete, Vlad, Riley group that he went last year, or if he'd be more down with Bo and Jose Altuve, but definitely think this is a wrong price for him right where he's at. He was bad last year because he was hurt. He's just been so consistent outside of that I'm happy to take him here. Matt says he would have taken Wheeler Castillo if it was available. And this time he takes two other pitchers I like on this turn, Tariq Skubal and Grayson Rodriguez. So yeah, definitely now I'm going to be shooting for a pitcher. Kind of looking ahead here, who I might get back at 91. Yeah, this is pretty easy. Freddie Peralta here for me. Obviously, the innings risk on Freddie Peralta have been due to injury history, not due to opportunity. At least recently, I mean, when he first came up, he was just a 2-pitch guy, so like they didn't want to expose him as much. They'd keep him short in games, that kind of stuff. But at this point, based on what the Brewers have done, they need him as an anchor. So I get being worried about missed time in the past, but like they're not going to hold back on him anymore. Like he's going to get as much as he can handle. Do you have anyone who's popular that you're full fading this year? I mean, I'm not full fading him, but let's see. I mean, Ellie is obviously a pretty large fade. I come down on that side of that discussion. Looking here, I'm pretty low on Brian Reynolds, but that might not be right. The one lately that I've been having a problem with that's pretty popular, and I had been taking him because I also see the upside, is Jazz. I know a lot of people are big at his per plate appearance ability, but he's got some really serious splits problems against lefties. You know, when he first broke in on the team, there was sort of a joke that Don Mattingly would not bat him leadoff against lefties or like leave him out of the lineup against lefties. And like even I thought that was silly. And now that as like multiple seasons have been played out, obviously he's been hurt a lot, but he's just been abysmal. He's got like a 60 WRC plus in his career. If I was looking at that right, I looked at it quick the other day against lefties. So I don't think that he would be a platoon player when healthy. I do have concerns about his lineup position when healthy if he continues to struggle. But then again, Miami, like who else are they going to bat ahead of him? So it might be unfounded there, but definitely something I wanted to get off my chest. And he strikes out a ton. Obviously, we don't care about that for the spike weeks when he's hitting home runs and stealing bases, but he does have kind of a poor consistency profile. But obviously, he's not going like where Brian Reynolds goes or something like that. All right, so we are going to get another pitcher here. I'm just gonna slam Kyle Bradish. Just scroll down and get my guy here. Just expect him to be just to build off of last year and be really good. Yeah, this is another good one. Adolis, definitely someone not that I'm getting much of. You know, kind of that whole outfield in Texas, I'm sort of off. Probably silly since I'm so high on the infield, but I don't have a ton of Evan Carter and now Wyatt Langford. In fact, that outfielder in Texas that I have the most of is Leody Taveras. So that could be completely wrong, and I don't feel too comfortable about that based on how that offense is. Maybe I'll change my mind and follow once I see him in spring. Again, actually a similar thing. If you're comparing Jazz and like Evan Carter, they do have that similar splits problem against lefties. But obviously, Evan Carter has probably more room for improvement based on, I guess, how old is Jazz? Let's look it up. But we've seen a lot more major league at bats for Jazz. Like we know the overall profile. 26 years old, yeah. So he's hitting his prime Whereas, like, if you're a believer in Evan Carter, his small sample success last year, obviously that's going to pull back a little bit, at least. But if you're like talking about these two guys, and your problem is that you don't like their playing time potential against lefties or their batting order or whatever it is, success, it's a lot easier to believe that Evan Carter could change at this point. I know that's not a super popular thing to say. I know. I mean, I love Jazz. Like, he's just an awesome dude to watch. He's aggressive. He's fun to watch. He has fun playing. But we've seen the profile. We've seen what he is. And like I said, he's hitting that 26. If he could, maybe he could still get better, but I feel less confident about it. While we're getting our hot takes off, I do think there is a realm of possibility this year where Bobby Miller is the guy on the Dodgers that gets the most innings. Obviously, maybe not obviously, but the conversation on the Dodgers rotation this year for fantasy specifically is that they're going to go with a 6-man rotation, right? It's more likely to be what I'll call a 5.5-man rotation, where they're just planning ahead and planning like at all the starts. They're not like going 6 guys in a row. Like, they're just planning everybody to get more rest than possible. Yeah, it could be 160 innings pitched, but it could be more than the other guys on that team. So I guess relative to the other Dodgers pitchers, obviously the per game upside of the guys ahead of him in Glasnow and Yoshinobu Yamamoto is higher than potentially Bobby Miller, who hasn't really put it together in the majors yet. Yeah, I just think there's a realm of possibility where he is the guy that gets the most innings, that they let go. He's the youngest, he's the healthiest, and everybody else they're managing for the playoffs. Obviously, that's kind of un-Dodger-like. Like, they would still want to protect him because he's part of the future and could be an important part of the future, but it just seems like a sort of hot take that I'm comfortable taking him more so. All right. So we are evenly built here. We did miss out on Dansby there. We could go with the Xander here to go with Manny Machado. I wish I knew. All right, yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to take Xander. I wish I knew what San Diego was doing. Like, they've added a bunch of random pitchers, no starters, no like real starters. They have no outfielders. Like, their roster resource, you go look at it, I don't, half their starters right now in roster resource are non-roster invites. And like, maybe this, like, the owner passed away recently, the guy who was sort of the driving factor in them spending. Maybe they're just like, maybe this is true. Maybe they don't, like, AJ Preller like had a plan, and now he's, maybe obviously he doesn't have the resources. He had to trade Soto away this year. He doesn't have the same resources available, maybe. And maybe they don't know what they're doing, and they're just trying to take this year to refresh, reset. But like, how much longer is he allowed to keep managing, or not managing, but heading that team, that front office, based on his successes. And what is the guy who owned the like quiet party that owned the Padres? What do they think now that their other co-owner has passed away? And so yeah, that could be the truth of it, is that they're just like trying to figure it out still. We must be giving Duke here. Are we giving him a great team? Okay, so yeah, he's got Ronald Acuna, Pete Alonso, Luis Robert, Zach Wheeler, Brandon Nimbo, Skubal, Grayson, Steele, Eloy, Reese, Willie Dom. Yeah, we may be just drafting the winner here for someone else on stream. I don't currently owe him money, but he is currently maybe taking my money. Good call. I don't know what I would have done differently, but yeah, that is excellent team. We'll just mashing buttons, getting the best players. All right. Kind of looking ahead here. Got some potential interests in Moral here. I'm just going to play the hits, my pitching hits here, then take Hunter Brown. Bieber and Bassett are boring. Verlander, I'm just done with Verlander. Like, he could have a reasonable year. I don't think he can hurt me this year. I think like he could put up a decent season again this year, next year, but I might just want to get ahead. I just want to get ahead of that. Like, there's let me take an exciting guy in Hunter Brown, who obviously, again, I say obviously a lot, but maybe you might not know this. Hunter Brown just pitched the most innings he had ever pitched in his career last year, and his success just went down as the season went on. But the makeup, the whatever, the core pieces are there for him to have a breakout season. I'd rather be trying to find that breakout season than hoping a guy isn't falling off the cliff. So while I do, famously, talked about Cardi before, I do follow the Cardi method as far as mostly ignoring prospects. I do like trying to find these breakout guys when I can. And Hunter Brown just kind of fits that profile. And part of the last season and hitting all those innings that he did, could set him up well for a nice workload this year. Yeah, here, rather Hunter Brown than Javier at ADP. I don't mind either. LeBron, CMC sniped me for Glaber and Muncy. Yeah, we'll have to kick him in the paint. Oh, hey, look, here he is.
Boom.
Welcome. How was your margarita?
My margarita was delicious. Everything else about my dinner was subpar. My primary computer for recording absolutely not working at all was not on my agenda, but I'm psycho enough to have a full backup system ready. So why not have a backup system ready in case something like this happens,
Well, we've already called this the actually, I forget what somebody's called it.
I was trying to listen a little bit in the car, but it was
a bad stream because I played my music twice, while I was talking. Yeah, so we're gonna take Dalton Varsho here. Kind of a rough pick at ADP based on his performance last year, but putting him with Vlad and Bo and getting an outfielder here is the goal. So I'm glad you made it.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate every time I'm on and all the times we've gotten to hang out and chat sports throughout the years.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess where are you at this year in baseball? I know you do I know you've got maybe a more square job on your plate these days.
Yeah, so my baseball research really just began with your most recent guest on the Stacking Dingers podcast, Derek Carty, releasing his season-long data. That really plays a big part into what I've done in baseball over the last few years. So much so that most of the betting, the technology that Mike G and some of the other guys that I work with created just to be able to utilize the bat properly. So, I really have started, I really only have 20 or 40 drafts under my belt, depending on how you look at it. My bunt contest, the $3 20 max, I'm like 18 or 19th round in almost all of those. So
Okay.
I feel like I have 40 drafts under my belt, but I don't have the data yet for my exposures because they're still in round 18. So I feel like I have a good idea of who I've taken a bunch.
Yeah.
But I don't quite have the data available that I would like to know, how that's moving things. And also I did the previous contest, I think it was $5 before that.
Yeah.
So, and I did that completely winging it. No rankings or nothing, just based on last year. So those are going to skew my draft so far. I was looking forward to getting into some more dingers and other of the high dollar contests, but I see you're on the clock here, so I don't want to take this show away.
I'm looking at a picture here, and it's sort of. I'm going to take Chris Sale. I got some young, fun arms here, so I'm just going to add this guy who I think can succeed on Atlanta this year. Maybe not to the the strikeout totals that we think of classic Chris Sale, but like if this sort of goes back to my decision: do I take Justin Verlander, the previous pick, or Chris Sale now? I don't see like these are both guys that are going to be getting by on less skills than they had in the past, and both have at this point kind of both have a sketchy recent injury history.
I mean, pitchers in this range are always interesting. It's actually probably my number one decision point right now is the true how are we handling pitching? And I guess this is always going to be the $1 million question, but I have rankings for infielders, outfielders. I know how those mesh together. I know that this contest skews towards outfielders because of scarcity. I get all that. How exactly are we weaving pitching in? And it's always been complex because we only have a couple years of data that we understand how it's utilized. We could look at historical data and make some decisions, but we also don't have original ADPs. We don't know we don't actually know who the fifth pitcher off the board would have been 4 years ago and how that data would have played out. So it's a little bit tricky doing the digging because of recency bias. And that's just, I think we've talked about in the last time I was on the show, pitching was awful last year, especially at the top. Is that projectable? I think no. I think that if I had to guess, pitchers tend to be projectable and consistent, maybe more than batters, maybe not. But I even if it's the same, I don't think batters are necessarily more projectable than pitching. So if that's true, then I think we don't have enough data to say using high round picks on pitchers is necessarily a mistake. Now, obviously, depending on which ones you're using it on, you could certainly make mistakes. Cole's a guy I'm a little bit polarized on. I was a little bit excited to see Carty had Cole, I believe, something like pitcher 9. And he's going pitcher 2 off the board. So I'm probably going to have 0 going forward, and I'm extremely comfortable with that. Variance in baseball is drastic, and I'm going to stack up those minor edges where I can and probably just be on the full fade on certain guys that are going to be out of my range.
Yeah, and he's like an interesting guy because he's had so much sustained success sustain success. Say that 10 times fast. But we, despite winning, the Cy Young last year, he did have like his lowest strikeout rate in like recent history. So I don't know if there's something under the hood that the bat is picking up on that goes along with that, or there's, and this is where you can start getting like into the weird, like tell yourself a narrative thing. Like, did he do it because the Yankees suck and he didn't, he just wanted to do enough to, get through the season and have a Cy Young chance?
It's so hard to project motivation, right? Like
Right.
that's like it feels like noise mostly. I'm gonna try not to focus on that too much personally.
Yeah. Yeah. I did take another Toronto outfielder there, Justin Turner. Just like, and the way they've built their team, like he's going to be kind of important. So I'm perfectly fine taking him there.
Yep, no issues there. He was always a player that I found interesting in the Boston Red Sox ballpark, Fenway. And I think the Blue Jays stadium is large, if I recall correctly.
It's not great for power.
Yeah, it's a little bit power reducing. So it's so hard to memorize all the stadiums and like, we're eventually getting to umpires and stuff like that. There's a little bit of rust we're knocking off here, but
yeah, and like Toronto did change their stadium recently, like all the little shifts and walls and all that kind of stuff.
I feel like that team has gone under a lot of changes this year. Am I making that up?
I mean, they haven't.
I feel like they changed. I feel like they rotated a few positions, maybe, like getting Justin Turner type examples, but they were disappointing last year. That was actually a topic of one of your recent conversations. Are they going to bounce back? I don't know. We're going to see.
Yeah.
I like Vlad for sure. He's an easy one. Sorry, on the clock.
Yeah, I'm just going to let it run out here and take Ezequiel Tovar. I was talking about when I started. I took that Nolan Jones a little bit earlier.
Is that your guy, Nolan Jones?
Oh no, I'm mostly even on him, to be honest. But something I've
noticed, the hype
is
large.
Yeah, and the projections match the hype. That's the thing. Like there's some key there's some key stuff to how he got there last year when he came up that like is a little bit scary. Like some of the strikeout rate, some of like how over how the luck stats for him, but given all that stuff, all the projection systems sort of like him where he's at right now.
I see.
So, and the good thing is that Colorado we're telling a story here. Colorado seems to have made this shift last year where they started playing the young guys rather than just signing old guys. Obviously, Blackman's still there, but they would just like bring in guys to play instead of letting the kids play. So there's a chance that even though, Ezequiel Tovar doesn't have exactly a super great hit profile either, but like there's a chance that they just let him lead off and let Nolan Jones hit third.
I'm seeing a pretty impressive ranking on Ezequiel Tovar in the bat.
Okay.
78th or 68th overall, excluding positions. So amongst batters. So probably maybe pitcher included, probably put him in the 120s range. I think that's that's good. There's a few spots, and the Rockies are obviously the easy one, but like we're playing a game of spike weeks, right? Like if the Rockies have two sets of home games in the same week, and maybe they're playing a bad team, like their division's very tough, so they're going to have quite a few tough matchups, but like they're going to get some cake matchups too. That's just how it works. So, if they get to run the score up at home, that's always something I'm interested in. Cincinnati's another team that comes to mind. They play in a real small ballpark, so the offense is kind of overrated. Ellie De La Cruz is a little overrated, and I think the rest of the team is just bad, inappropriately rated. So it's hard to get too excited about them, but I saw the way that the bat projected them so much last year, and understanding how much the ballpark plays into where the ball lands, it makes sense.
Yeah. So this pick is something
Walker Buehler.
I'm starting to add in now.
So let's talk about Walker Buehler.
Yeah. So
he missed all last year, if I recall correctly, right?
Yep. He missed all last year.
I recall him. It's one of those where I'm a big trust the projections guy, and then kind of build the games that I play around the projections.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at things from a yearly perspective, it's tough when there's a guy that misses a whole year because I forget what kind of guy he was before. I feel like he was a pretty relevant starting pitcher, but after a full year off, what kind of pitcher is he going to be when he comes back? Always a tough question. Now, I don't actually know what the injury is, so I'm clearly speculating. Tommy John's is different than like an ankle injury, a broken ankle or something. But
even more so is his second one.
It was second what?
His second Tommy John surgery.
How much data do we have
None.
on that?
We don't. Like, there's a few points today. This is something, if you listen to the Rates and Barrels podcast, talks about, Tommy John data a lot. There's like barely any data on guys that have had a second one. And much less the points that we do have are from how many years ago and how much has the medical technology changed since then. But ultimately, I just think he's getting to a point where I can draft him. This year, they've already said that maybe he's
you're pretty late in the draft already. Okay. I thought we were still a little. I thought we were in like the 130s still.
Yeah, I've seen him fall further. I think I saw somebody say they had a draft today where he didn't even get drafted, which is not right. Like, I've always been all right, this is an easy Ryan McMahon here to add to the Colorado stack. This is part of why I wanted to take Nolan Jones, is like this Tovar McMahon stuff that I feel like I'm missing out on if I don't plan it. We got a little friend here.
Furry friend visit.
But yeah, no Bo Sox got him at 190 last night. And the Dodgers have said that they don't care about the statement was, we don't care about April or March Walker Buehler. Like,
yeah,
maybe
that's concerning.
Well, it's concerning, but at this point,
I've also heard rumors of a 6-man rotation.
Yeah, so I did address this earlier. If you had shown up on time, Michael.
Sorry.
I had to use your full
I actually
name.
was trying to listen. I heard your whole Manny Machado speech.
Oh no. So I think it's more of like and they signed Kershaw to come back later. This is actually something they've done forever. It just hasn't been called a 6-man rotation, and people are starting to realize it. They just pitch guys on extra days rest. Like, they plan everything. They'll bring guys up. They'll throw a bullpen game in there.
Relevant. It seems super fine. Like, you're gonna lose an arm throughout the season. Let's try to be as deep as we can.
Yeah, and I've always been on Walker Buehler's overrated train. He's always got by on really lucky BABIPs and really lucky left on base stuff, and with the whole Dodgers defense mentality, like he got by on that quite a bit. So like, I was ready. He's one of the guys that came to this year. I was ready to just like ignore, because I thought he was going to be like, people are going to remember the couple of really great years he had that, I thought he was kind of overrated because of. But now, like at this price, as a sixth pitcher, like, I don't see a reason why he's not a good pick. I don't know, great.
The upside's clearly there. No argument here. It's just it's a lottery ticket.
Yeah.
And you still need all the rest of the card to hit as well as that. So
yeah. And if he is healthy, he's probably not going to get 2-star pitches in the finals. So like, I do also get the full fade too.
It's tricky because the team is expected to be quite good. So I like getting pitchers that are going to get phony wins sometimes, give up 4 earned runs, but like book the win because they scored 6 runs in the second inning and like just win the game that way. So, obviously it all the points add up, and it clearly, he is a relevant player that should be drafted, but obviously the risk is there. Might not be able to rely on him early in the season, but early in the seasons when you're the deepest. I don't mind taking players in any sport really that miss the early part of the season if their upside is enough to be super relevant. I think Bryce Harper was my example last year.
Yeah.
I didn't mind taking quite a bit of him because I thought he was, he was certainly going to miss time. We knew that baked in, but if he ended up having a good second half, which he did, then he could carry some teams across that would benefit.
All right, I'm going to get a really boring outfielder here as part of no stack. I'm just going to take Andrew Benintendi. I don't love it. I'm just looking at my build here, though.
He is one of the bat guys that I've clicked on quite a bit. So
okay, yeah,
he's bat approved.
The question is like spike weeks for him, like like what is he going to land?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember his exact profile. So if I recall correctly, he had some steals upside, but I kind of remember that not being that real or something along those lines, or maybe it was a little bit fake steal numbers. Am I misappropriating that or remembering the wrong guy?
It could be that, but also power. He like he had a couple of years of okay home runs, and the last two he's had like none. So is that like last year? Was that just being on the White Sox and being depressed? Again, we're telling stories.
I mean, that's in the range of outcomes for sure. That team massively underperformed last year, and they got rid of the witch as the head coach.
Right. Yeah, but then promoted internally. So, yeah, the management.
There's only 120 professional, or let's call it 120 professional coaching spots in all of North America. I'm obviously missing a couple, but like it's just going to go to somebody's friends and stuff. Like that's just how all of this works. Yeah. It's all crony capitalism. It's all, do you see the stuff with RG3 bashing John Gruden's son that coached him in Washington? This might be a week old, but they went at it. It was brutal. RG3, he took it some places. It was cool. But, all these guys they're just friends of friends that get jobs because they know somebody. It's annoying. Quality should stand.
All right. So here,
Charlie Blackman.
I'm pretty good at all of my positions.
Yeah, you seem balanced. We got 666.
Just kind of want to add an interesting.
John Gray, I've added a lot here.
I'm going to add
Cutter Crawford. That's a name I'm not on board with yet. Talk to me.
Oh, your reputation precedes you, Mike.
That's right.
Yeah. Yep, he is the guy. He is
lazy drafter alert.
The lazy drafter. But yeah, that is Mike. He is known for his games or his team stacks in the daily. But
I do what the bat tells me to do, and if the bat tells me that the day that this story all came up, the bat had the number one pitcher that was being taken at like ADP 8. On the daily projection, the bat had him at like 7 or 9 or not even draftable in the 6-man format. So I just drafted a whole bunch of teams that were playing against him, bunch of different combinations, and they smashed. They put up like 20 runs, and I just won all the money that day. It was a very fun day. But yeah, I mean, it's the daily contests. I could argue all day or night what is the right strategy. I do try to take it day by day. I do mix in more 3-2 stacks than I used to, but I am also willing to do whatever makes the most sense. So like when I've drafted a player, the front and back of the batting order is that player is so much more valuable than most other players left on the board at that point. So stacking is tremendously important in daily MLB. It's probably tremendously important in season-long MLB. That is still up in the air and certainly not a solved thing. Yep. But the upside of what can happen if you're multiple leveraging something. So in that original story, I was leveraging that the bat had that pitcher as a pretty bad play that day. So then if you take the opponents and bunch of the other, I literally just took every other pitcher that was an option. That, you know, number 2, stack the team. Number 3, stack the team. And you know, there's other sports where this is an option, and there's other sports where I've had mixed results in it. But baseball is really, really wide range of outcomes, and the best players can easily go 0 for 4. And when that happens, I'm trying to win all the money.
Yeah, so here, last pick, I like to take a guy that's not drafted in every draft. So I'm going to pull up Mitch.
Down.
I'm going to pull up Mitch Garver to go with Julio Rodriguez as a little mini stack.
Nice little, find a little stack piece.
Most people here are going to put France or Polanco. But at this point, I'm getting Mitch Garver for spike weeks. And then we end up in the 7-7-6 build. And just pretty even along the way. You want to get into a draft?
I am very interested in battling.
All right. So if you guys are out there and you missed this one, we're getting into the next one. Hopefully you are able.
Dinger, you're registering now?
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm in.
All right. We need 3 more. We'll
cool.
Hopefully if you missed the first
I will grab a beverage real quick.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. We'll see who else is in here with us. All right. We get a pick number 2. Maybe a controversial pick. Maybe not. Wu-Tang, Grill Belichick's in here. JMC's again. Mr. Laake is in here. Yeah. Got some guys in here. Bevy time. That's for sure. Dogman, is that you at 12? J-Fat?
Alrighty, I am back.
Hey, welcome back. So I did get the number 2 spot, and you got the 11. So you get to see if somebody leaves you an outfielder.
Yeah. So my draft's going to be fun. I can already tell.
Yeah.
I might be all aboard the Bobby Witt trade.
There you go. Yeah, I think I'm just going to take Juan Soto. Usually I take Judge, but we're just going to start with Juan this time.
Yeah. How much conviction do you have that Judge is better than Soto?
Pretty high. I mean, I pretty much always do it.
I'm not taking much Soto this year at 2.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I don't understand. Like, is Soto capped for his ceiling weeks?
No.
Obviously, Judge is like a ceiling king.
Yeah. We saw last year that he's not. Soto isn't. That's something that actually came up in the pregame stream that Easy was hosting. He's been looking at team correlation and also at like spike week, what stats are good for spike weeks. But yeah, interesting. Somebody gets our friend Matt Wu-Tang Killer Bees here gets Judge at 4, which is always awesome.
I am not taking Ohtani at 3. That's for damn sure. Although this is a message to all of the fantasy sites out there that are probably not listening. But if you are, you've got an entire goddamn year to figure out how Ohtani works pitching and batting. Figure it out. You've got a whole fucking year to figure it out. Figure it out.
That would require money and change, Mike. So the expert here,
I have neither of those things available to me, but these sites should in theory.
The expert here thinks seasonal stacking is overrated. I definitely think that could be true. That it's somewhere more in the middle. Definitely studs over stacks in the case of the expert here.
All right. So
I'm the guy that takes Bobby at 4th to 8th pick. All right. That's
That's
called getting
the
your
bat
badge
has Bobby Witt at like 4 overall.
for sure. Yeah.
I'm taking Freeman though
Okay.
because I want to take Bobby Witt in round 2.
Okay. JFAT takes the double ace
All right,
start.
I will take the double infielder. I'm going to predict how my draft's going to go. I am going to finish this draft with 4 infielders.
Okay. All
And
right.
I'm going to have a lot of pitching and outfielders between now and then.
Okay. I'm excited to see how you put that together.
This is one of my least favorite builds, but I think it's one of your best options in this spot, unfortunately.
I do think there are boards where you get an outfielder. I don't know if this is the room with the amount of people watching that are doing this. I think you can get an interesting outfielder there. I've had Yelich fall to me there. Stuff like that.
You weren't trying to say Yelich. You were trying to say Christian Yelich?
Yeah.
The falls to you when?
Like at the turn there. Because normally he goes here in the middle of this.
You're talking about around 3.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I thought you were suggesting taking Yelich in round 2, and I'm like, I thought you were saying someone would fall to me in the 11 hole. So I thought you were trying to say like Tatis or something. And Yelich came out, and I was like, that didn't sound right. Sorry, I apologize.
So, but for the future of these like 2 infielder starts,
Yelich is the next target. Absolutely.
If you get an outfielder to drop, it can like put you in an okay spot.
Yes, I would be quite happy with Yelich. Although the stuff after him gets really thin really quickly.
Right. Yeah. And let's see.
I was trying to grab beers before I got here, but it didn't work. And my Angry Orchard that I'm going with requires a bottle opener, so I will be right back.
All right.
I was not prepared.
All right. That's all right. Best ball Viper. We missed it. I'm glad you're back from whatever foreign country you were visiting, and you're back into the baseball arena. It's good to have you back. What's up, Nez? How are you doing this evening? You just missed the start of the second draft here. I did take Soto over Judge. If anybody's feeling aggressive tonight, they need one more for the perfect game fast. This is interesting. Jose Ramirez does fall. A few picks. I think this is going to be an interesting build that I don't have any start like this.
All right, looks like your round 3's coming up.
Yeah, so I took an interesting start that I don't have any of. Soto.
Yeah, I was going to say you took an infielder here, so Ramirez.
So now the question is, do I take a Trout here, get aggressive on outfield?
I would be taking Trout in your seat, but
so I don't know. I feel like this year I've really been thinking more about the ceilings on these infielders here. Pete Alonso, Corey Seager, Rafael Devers. So I am starting much more often this year.
Trout is in the conversation for ceiling, guys. What do you mean?
True.
He was like a 3rd overall pick last year, right?
Because he has had a few years of bad health. So he was definitely not. He's at the end of the first round.
Okay, but he was a first rounder. I feel like we're getting a big discount on him. The upside is clearly there. He could win MVP. No one would be shocked. And obviously Ohtani's not there, but like I'm not sure how much that matters. It probably matters. I don't want to completely ignore it. But like, what are they going to do? Just walk him every time? Like, okay, fine. Like they still have to pitch to him.
Sure. I don't disagree. I'm just maybe I'm playing scared there on the health stuff. So my overall idea about ceiling didn't really work with him being there and maybe even Luis Robert being there. But the general concept that I am starting more outfield into infielder this year than I have in the past does hold true. So ignore the reason, but that fact is true.
Here's my next question. Are there any other Royals we would draft?
Yeah, so
I mean, Melendez, Vinny P.
Vinny P, yeah. I do take some of him with Bobby Witt. And I have been taking a lot of Bobby Witt this year. Obviously, he's projecting like a monster, even with the bad offense behind him. So that like
he got a contract. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
I usually assume guys kick it into slow gear once they get paid, but
you're on the clock there.
All right. Yeah, I don't want to blow this on a auto draft here, so I don't need that. I am taking a pitcher. We will go. I think you're against the Gossman train, but I am all aboard. To Kevin Gossman. Bat's a big believer. I therefore am a big believer, and I think the Blue Jays could be good. Obviously, they weren't, and they haven't been recently, and it's been ugly. But
all right, you got another pick here.
Looks like I need another pitcher better than an outfielder. Yeah. Gossman. Then I guess I'm going to go Luis Castillo. Boom.
Yeah, so the expert here, obviously taking a lot of Bobby Witt as the Royals guy. Must be a local or a homer here, but yeah, it's Bobby, Vinny, Cole Reagans, and Seth Lugo late.
You don't stack pitchers with your batters necessarily in season long, do you?
No, he's just
to me, if they fall together, so be it. But I don't go out of my way. But yes, he is still one of the drafted pitchers.
Right. And then the hot sleeper this year is Nelson Velasquez, who is I hit ball hard guy. So
hey, upside's there then.
Yeah, there is some dreaming on the home runs from him getting a full run. I'm out on Hunter Renfroe. He's like on his 30th team in 28 seasons. I'm exaggerating, but it's like 6 and 8 or something like that. So nobody really sees anything in him. He's just sort of filling in here. I think if you want to get crazy, you could get Salvador Perez with him. I did like Nelson Velasquez a lot more when he wasn't so often drafted.
Perez DH is also, right?
Yeah, he could. Yeah.
That's the big value there.
The question is MJ Melendez. I wish he was going. I don't know. He has not been good. Yeah, Easy's out here. He's clicked Selvey a couple of times. He played 140 games last year. He definitely could be in it, but I am worried about MJ Melendez just not being good at baseball. Like, he's not good in the outfield. He strikes out a ton, so I do have some fear on him generally.
If the guy's range of outcomes includes being out of the league, then I don't want to draft him.
I don't know if it's that bad, but because like who else? They have nobody good, so it's like it's mostly the thing that's scaring me is the 170 ADP, and I could be wrong there. I should maybe just be ignoring ADP at that point of the draft, and that could be a mental block. All right, I'm going to take George Springer here, a few picks after ADP. Just be happy there.
Guy that always projected well from the leadoff spot, hits big homers. I'm on board with Springer, as I mentioned. I like Toronto, but did not put it together last year. Hope that changes. God, I got no freaking outfielders.
All right. So I was thinking about taking Gallon or Framber Valdez here. They both go. So I'm just going to take one of these volume outfielders. So I get my third. And I think I'm going to take Santander. I've been trying to balance my Ian Happ and Anthony Santander in this part of the draft, and I'm much heavier on Ian Happ. So here's a question from Duke. So I started Soto, J-Ram, Endeavors. Are you tempted to ditch the stack thought process and value out? I would actually say the opposite because
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you have 3 studs on different teams. You have 3 different stacks you can build. What's the problem?
yeah, and all 3 of these guys, the rest of their team has no premium price.
Yeah,
On the stack pieces. So I definitely am just happy to fill in. Like, I'm not going to specifically, I mean, I have my favorites out of these guys, that are left on these teams, but I'm not going to specifically target any of them on their own. And this is where, I was explaining before, this is where I like to highlight all the stack partners, even if I don't plan on taking them. But just as I'm building, I can see on the side where a guy is starred and make that decision in my head. Do I want that stack partner or not? Where I don't have to be looking, which stacks do I need? So
yeah, I have mixed. I definitely do things differently at times. The one of the things that I'm currently doing is, like, I'm getting, like, let's call it 8 to 9, 10 picks into the draft, about halfway through. And then I'm just loading up all my stack partners for all my teams. But I'm also some of the rankings can be really outrageous when you're using a projection system like the BAT. So there's a ton of guys that have some really relevant rankings, and I'm sure we'll get to these soon, that even though they're really highly ranked, they're basically undrafted, right? So, like, it might be like pitcher 50 that's undrafted, even though pitcher 50 definitely should be drafted. So, I'm going to be taking a little bit of a, try to value-based approach, and I'm trying to queue, once I'm at that certain point in the draft, all my stack partners up with all of those projected values. Then it takes me a long time I like to sort them by ADP once I have them all queued up, whatever, 40, 50 people. And then I like to sort them up and go from there. So it looks like I'm on the clock with no outfielders. That is not a fun place to be. Looks like Nick Castillo fell to me. I'm pretty excited about that. Could argue Jazz here, but these are certainly not number 1 outfielders, but they're going to have to be today. So
yeah, you put 2 of them together and say they're number 1 together. Maybe.
And yeah, I'll probably take Jazz if he falls back to me, but this guy's also only got 1 outfielder, so imagine that's on his plate.
Where does Jazz rank on the BAT rankings? I mean, you can wait till after your pick.
Currently the best overall outfielder, but that's not too difficult. Let me see here. So it looks like alrighty. So Jazz did fall to me. That's quite exciting. He took Suzuki and Walker. I would not have taken Walker there personally, but that's okay.
Is that his ADP now, or is that that must be a?
I think it's a little aggressive.
Yeah, but obviously out the turn. If you wanted Jordan Walker, he's not coming back. But yeah, that's pretty nice that falls to you there. I did go on.
Is Jordan Walker undrafted? It says no ADP.
No, he's got a 71.
Oh, okay. I thought that was accurate. Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
All right. So got my 2 outfielders. Don't love it. A little stronger at other positions, though.
Yeah, I did go on a little bit of a Jazz rant earlier. Just
what was the crux of it?
He can't hit lefties. He's got a demonstrable set of years of being at the major leagues, being unable to hit lefties. I don't know. It might not be enough at bats for like a true look at his ability against them. But like, I'm totally fine where he goes. I just have a little bit of fear that and I looked it up. He's 26 this year, going to be 27. I feel like he is who he is.
Yeah.
And
I have a broad question for you as a follow-up here.
Okay.
What is the lefty-righty splits for batters and pitchers approximately?
In terms of
like how many pitchers overall are righty and how many are lefty, and how many batters are righty and how many batters are lefty? If you had to guess, obviously it probably changes every year, but because like I'm just trying to understand. Like obviously, I know that they may pull him if he's facing a lefty, or he may be out of the lineup that day. But I'm trying to think of what the frequency that would be. Now, obviously, if we wanted to dig deep, we could look at how many lefties are in his division or something like that. But
yeah, and this is actually a great point by Easy, and I'm perhaps over exaggerating my feelings about him. I'm going to take Dylan Cease as my first pitcher here. I think the price has gotten right on Dylan Cease for the potential negative side of who he is. But the extreme nature of his splits. I'm going to take Grayson here as my second pitcher. The extreme nature of his splits versus lefties could still be in the range that he hasn't seen enough lefties. I don't know the exact number, and that in general, the methodology for projecting hitters with extreme splits is that you're going to just like regress them to the average where most hitters are in those splits. Like it just bears out over the large sample that here is the WOBA against righties as a righty, and this is the WOBA of lefties versus lefty, and you're always going to go towards that average. So I could be completely wrong, and I don't not take him. I just sort of, he's been a topic of a lot of, because his per plate appearance projection is super high. So a lot of people are really high on him, and I just sort of wanted to talk about the other side.
Well, that sounds like the perfect type of player to have on the type of team I'm planning to build, though, because I'm gonna be heavy in outfielders the next few picks, I would imagine.
Yeah, and this is another good point that even though he does strike out a lot, he's got the home run steal upside. That
I'm truly looking for guys that are trying to put it over the fence every play as much as they can. Yeah,
and I'm probably over exaggerating, but just wanted to throw a little bit out there about him that I feel like goes against. Just got to be a little bit counter to the popular sometimes.
Fair enough. All right, how are we building next? I am on the clock. I got 2, 2, and 2. So I'm either going with Joe Ryan as a pitcher or Riley Green as an outfielder.
Okay. That's good, because those are the positions they're in.
Riley Green, it is. What's that? Those are the positions that what?
You said you're going to take him as the pitcher or Riley Green as an outfielder, and I said, that's good, because that's the positions they're in. You can't take them out of the position.
Yeah, that's just part of the full clarity for the audience so that they could follow me along.
Yeah, the jokes all make sense in my head, which is the scary.
No, it was a good one. All right, so do I want Joe Ryan? I think I do. When I take the Tigers, there's usually, Spencer Torkelson's an option, but I'm super strong at infield, so I think that's risky. So I'm going to take a pitcher here. Joe Ryan, it is.
All right. And then Easy does have, he's saying roughly speaking, pitchers are 75-25 righty, and hitters are like 60-65.
All right. So thank you, Easy. I appreciate this. So 75-25 pitchers. Is that what I saw?
Yeah.
And then closer in batters. Interesting. So, and
So, like,
you prefer this as a batter, you prefer the same side, right?
no, the
Because you
opposite
see it
side.
better. You prefer the opposite side?
Correct. Yeah.
Because you see it out of their hands better. Okay,
Right.
so Jazz is a lefty. That's why I was. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
I forgot that he was a lefty. Yeah.
And like I'm pulling it up now. Let's see. In his splits, let's go to his career. Sorry, I got this on the other screen. I don't have it set up to share right now.
No
So in his career, he's had 896 plate appearances against righties to 297 against lefties. And when he did,
so that's
first,
actually about a 3-1 split, which is about what was estimated.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's in the nightmare matchup that happens the least amount of time.
Correct. And early in his career, he was protected against lefties. Like they would bat him higher up or further in the order, like when he first came up. So like it could be skewed a little bit too.
You're on the clock, but I'll need you to say that again when you're done picking.
Yeah. It was pretty far Josh Lowe fall, so I'm just going to grab it. Just take the value here on the Tampa guy there. And
this Tampa team finally spent some money, and then they did it on Wander Franco. Way to go.
What luck. What luck.
I just want to go watch. All right, my first Royce share.
Yeah. Royce has paper knees, which is actually, right. Let's see. I got Jackson Churio just staring at me here, tempting me to take him for a later Brewers group, but I'm just going to take Glaber here to go with Juan Soto. Nothing too fancy. I still have only 2 pitchers, but I just think the price is fine on Glaber, and I'm just going to take that little Yankees group.
Glaber projects nice. The Yankees offense projects nice.
Yeah.
They I think Cardi was making this point when he was on your podcast. He was just like, they're good. Like, I'm like, no, like everybody's so down on the Yankees, but like, sorry, they're good, but like, I don't know what to tell you. And their offense is going to be proficient. They're going to hit home runs. Judge could do Judge things. I mean, it seems straightforward.
Right. Yeah. And he's been just consistent, Glaber. Like he's going to bat high in that order. Like, I don't know if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, but depending on who's healthy or whatever, he's just shown to be consistent and a producer. It's kind of funny because he had a really nice price last year and performed really well. So he's a guy like I honestly haven't taken as much this year because I was getting a better price on him last year, which is just a dumb thing, but hard to ignore.
All biases are real, right? Like, and we're all guilty of them. It's just, you create these anchoring bias and you just get attached to certain prices.
Matt was trying to get Glaber to come back to go with his Judge.
Sorry, bro.
Yeah, and this might be true. The Yankees pitching needs more, but they can address that in season.
All right, give me your 5-second take on Jung Ho Lee. Yay or nay?
Yeah.
Over Mitch Keller?
Over Mitch Keller, yeah.
Yeah, I'm in. I was on Mitch Keller till the very last second there. So
I like Miller, Eflin, Musgrove more than Keller, too. That might not match with the projection.
Right. So it's either Mitch Keller or Hunter Green for me here. I could be talked into either one. Sounds like you're not that high.
I would take none of those out of these pitching options, but I get both. Really have a backup of pitchers here. All right, you go with Mitch. Fine.
All right, so now I'm in a 4-2-4 build with my Freddie and Bobby anchoring the 2, so I'm pretty happy with how it's unfolding.
Yeah, it is interesting though that the pitchers are backing up here in this room. Here at the end, like, yeah, there were like 10 picks. Zach Eflin is 10 picks of value. So, an interesting note. I do wonder. This is the sort of room, or like this situation where like you get to it and you're like, should I have done something differently to capitalize on this room? Like if it's building up at a certain position. I don't know.
Yeah, but how did you know that was happening?
I don't know. That's why I'm
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
could I see this happening?
This guy Grill Belichick has 0 pitchers so far. So like he has 5 infielders and 4 outfielders. I mean, that probably isn't going to work out for him. I mean,
I think he
like
probably
0 pitcher an option with headed by Joe Musgrove. Like I just don't see that working out.
We'll see. I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly could. I just find that
yes.
Attaboy. Honestly, there's no right way to build. Like I think as long as you end up with at least 6 at each position, it's hard for me to argue a lot of other ways to build.
All right.
What direction you going here? 10 seconds.
Yeah, I'm tempted by this value on Eloy. I do think I need a pitcher.
Are they trading Rhys Hoskins?
Oh, I missed the pick. Alex Verdugo it is for the stack. That wasn't too bad out of ADP. I don't want Alex Verdugo, but are they?
Life goes on.
Are they? No, they just signed Rhys Hoskins. He's their piece that says.
Oh, I'm thinking Adams.
Willie Adames. Yeah.
Adames. Yeah.
Maybe they might. I'm tempted to
stop taking my outfielders.
I'm tempted to get a little crazy here and take another outfielder.
Go for it.
I'm sorry to say, man, I don't. It feels gross. I'm taking Eloy here. Man, I don't know. He's just not been good. He's been hurt, but even when he's not been hurt, he hasn't been great either. So,
what could go wrong?
Oh yeah, here we got Matt. Matt is another old school Magic player.
My favorite Magic the Gathering set. I fell in love during Onslaught block. Ravnica was probably my favorite. Or yeah, I would go Ravnica. I was a big fan of the multicolor options. I always enjoyed 3 and 4 color builds that were real greedy, but when they worked real well.
Yeah, Matt was telling me last weekend he went to a pre-modern tournament, which is basically everything pre the modern format.
Yeah.
But not including like the alpha and beta.
No power.
Or dual lands. So it goes back to revised, I think he said. It goes back to 4th edition. So it doesn't include any of the dual lands. So that sounded pretty fun in terms of like old school.
I really enjoyed Magic. I really haven't played in a very long time. I just found poker, and poker was my thing for so long.
Paul started playing with Tempest. I definitely started in around Scourge.
I fell in love in Onslaught. Like I started taking it seriously. I was traveling for a little while. I visited before my 18th birthday. I think I went to 5 different states just for Magic tournaments. Just like hopping in the car for the weekend, driving to Atlanta to play in some stupid $30 tournament where the prize was like nothing, and then like we'd all drive home and eat McDonald's or whatever nonsense. Like there's so many like bags stolen and shit. All right, I'm on the clock and I'm about to miss my pick.
Sorry,
I'm gonna take Charles Bassett.
Chris
Bassett. That's what I meant.
Yeah. It's easy. I
saw Charlie Morton.
Charlie
Charlie
Bassey.
Morton
Yeah.
Charlie Morton was the highest rated pitcher on the board, so I'd buy defense. Christopher Morel, come on down.
Paul, his neighbor was obsessed, and his dad was convinced it was the Devil's game.
Yeah, to fucking Christian America, it was the Devil's game. You kidding me?
And D&D,
there were pentagrams and like actual devils. Like, what do you mean? They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, that's funny. No, it was past that point where when I started, it wasn't. It was past the Devil's game.
Yeah, it was. They were like, "Oh shit, we're actually making money on this. We gotta fucking."
Yeah, but still, I bought like a zombies deck.
Yeah,
that was like a pre-made zombies deck. That was like the first deck. I had collected the Star Wars TCG before that for a long time, or for like 3 or 4 years.
I don't remember a Star Wars TCG.
Yeah, that was the one me and my friends played in middle school, and then in high school I sort of graduated to Magic a little more.
Apparently, there's a Disney one that's popular right now.
Yeah, Lorcana. Yeah,
that one.
Yeah, I tried to get my son into it. I bought some of the starter decks once I finally located them, but he didn't really take to it yet, so I didn't really push it.
I think my daughter could be interested.
Yeah, it's a cool game. I know people are talking baseball in the comics, but whatever.
Losers.
Yeah, nerds.
We're busy talking about Lorcana TCGs. Get out of here.
There was like a factor. It might be just like the starter decks that we had, but it got to the point where the like 3 or 4 games that we played, it was always like both of us were in top deck mode, where we were just trying to draw the card to continue. And like once somebody got a lead, there was no real catch up based on how the cards interact, because there's no like interaction on the other player's turn. So you're sort of just forced with what you have on the board to be able to interact with theirs. I was hoping Imanaga would get back to me here. He did not.
Yeah, you need some pictures, buddy.
So I do not need to start putting some pictures together. We'll take boring Jose Barrios here. So I think like there's already been 2 expansions on Lorcana. So I think like they can build from what they have. It just didn't stand out to me. I saw some problems with the interaction and the overall like game flow based on what we had, but certainly could be huge caveat. Oh, man, I need a pitcher, but I'm gonna take Andres Jimenez here to go with Jose Ramirez.
Away you go.
There is actually a new Star Wars TCG coming out this year too, in a month, that I was looking at, but I still do play Magic Online, so like I don't need another one.
Do you play Magic Online or Arena?
Yeah, on Arena. Yeah,
on Arena.
I've completely moved over to Arena. Yes, there was some Jurassic Park.
I felt like the recent Magic sets did several like sellout sets with like popular things.
So this is gonna sound gross, but one of the best sets in like the last year was the Lord of the Rings set.
Yeah,
there's a full Lord of the Rings set, and like
there was like a single ring in some pack or something too, right? Like some like really rare,
there was a 1-of-1 ring that
yeah.
What the heck's his name? He bought it for $2 million from the person that opened it.
Oh, one of the
Post Malone.
Oh, Post Malone. Yeah, I do recall that.
I'll be honest with you, I have no idea what Post Malone does or has done, other than that he is big in Magic, into Magic.
You don't know he's a musician?
Okay. I mean, I knew that, but I couldn't tell you a song or anything.
I mean, I couldn't name a song either, but
okay.
It's popular stuff, right?
Yeah.
You've heard the music for sure.
Okay, that could be. You are on the clock, so soon. So I'll explain to Paul. So what Magic has started doing, and I have some actually right here. Hold on.
I'm gonna get jiggy with it. Na 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 na. Nah. Getting jiggy with it.
Will Smith. There we go. What Magic has started doing is they're doing these secret layers now, and they're
Okay.
doing like alternate arts even within the regular set a lot more. So what they did is they did some Jurassic Park ones where this is just like printed to order, but they're all like limited edition stuff. So the ones that I got here, they're not the Jurassic Park ones, but they are made to look like baseball cards. So this is I don't know if you ever played Into the Arrow with Planeswalkers too much.
Oh, is that Jace?
Yeah, so this is a Jace Balerian Planeswalker. So it looks like that, and then it's got his ability, like the Planeswalker abilities on the back.
Huh.
So they're doing all these like crazy print to order art stuff. Some of them, like, there's going to be a Fallout set, and like some of the stuff is just like, there's like a Garrick.
Huh.
So this is the only one.
Planeswalkers were a very cool mechanism, but it really, I felt like it got overpowered for a while.
Yeah, and this is like some of the first designs they did, which were great for the power level, and then they sort of ramped it up. Now they're back down. They've backed off. They only have one Planeswalker per set now. But yeah, I just had to get these because they were baseball card.
Yeah, no, that's sweet.
Like, crossover of multiple obsessions of mine.
Very cool.
Anyway, baseball.
Not really sure how we got there, but I'm always gonna.
We can blame Matt. Matt started. He asked what I didn't actually answer my favorite.
Yeah. What was your favorite set? You're on the clock.
I need a pitcher, so we're just gonna take
Walker Buehler.
We're gonna take Brandon Fat.
I've never known how to say that guy's name.
I don't think that's how you say it, but at this point, this is where I'm at. We're talking Magic and pronouncing names wrong, and the whole conversation is going on here in the chat, which I've missed out on. But good for them. Yeah, we'll take Brandon Fott. I'm pretty bullish on him. Again, he has the inflated innings from last year, so if the changes that he made at the end of the year result in long-term success, he's going to have the ability to succeed based on his innings. He's not going to be like capped innings this year. I don't love these pitching options, I'll be honest. So I might just keep kicking it down the road and take Trevor Story to go with my Boston stack. And now I'm 4, 5, 6. And as long, I could probably end with these outfielders and just be happy. Fill in pitching and infield from here. I still feel like I have some decent anchors pending good results.
Just trying to decide my next route.
All right, go back here. Jobber Jim, how much baseball do you guys watch during the regular season? I know you're not too much of a watch the game guy.
I am team not watch the games. That being said, I will very often fall asleep to baseball. Do with that info what you wish.
Yeah, I don't think that's wrong. Like, part of what I like about baseball is the pace and the nature of it. And yeah, I've been a big fan of the big inning that they put together last year.
I agree. All right. So yes, big fan of the idea of red zone expanding to other sports. There's been a basketball version, there's been a hockey version, there's been a baseball version. Yes. Give me all the action. Give it to me all at once. I don't care. I don't want to watch the stupid Twins commentators discuss Twins biases on, the fucking lunch buffet earlier. I don't like that shit. Just makes me want to blow my brains out. I could care less. Give me one guy that's just talking about what's going on, please.
Yeah, and I even just turn that guy off often. And I'm
Yeah, I
watching.
usually do too.
I usually have like something on my phone on YouTube that I'm listening to. And I
This is
have,
a great place to pitch this. I have a very, very, very close friend of mine who he told me he's received offers of $3 million and $5 million to purchase an app he's developing. The app he's developing, he's turned down those offers. The app he's developing, you just like load it and then you just like pick a sporting event or a TV show or something else that's on, and you get custom announcers for whatever you're watching in different styles, in different ways. And the volume comes out of your phone, and it's just meant to broadcast with what you're watching in person. So I mean, he actually wants me to like participate as like, just you and I commenting on a game, right? Like that would be fascinating to me. Or even doing like some form of a crunch time. Like if it were feasible to have cameras bouncing around, like why not have like random sharp people discuss the actual good stuff rather than the monotony of quote unquote color commentary, which is, boring as all can be.
it's interesting. So take the Manning cast into people's homes, but essentially,
Yeah,
you get to be
basically.
the Mannings, although they're like in a fake basement studio. And
No, I love the man. I usually leave that broadcast on versus the normal ones. That's easy for me. All right. um.
all right, so you took MJ and Jake Berger there.
Yep. Couple stack pieces.
Yeah, I think, man, I can't remember the name of it. I think isn't there a site that like you get the video and see the? I think it's tied to the NBA mostly. You can see that you can pick a game and watch along with people. It might be called that. Watch along, play along, something like that.
I'm
Actually, I
not
have it on
familiar,
my
but
phone.
I think it's a good
Playback,
idea. Playback.
playback. Yeah, like so. Like right now, this guy's room. There's 182 watching, and they're watching the Pelicans Lakers game. There's this Lakers Nation channel that 149
But
people are
is
watching.
it a special announcer? Is there like a unique guy?
Uh,
Like the guy doing the play-by-play, is it like a normal TV guy or is it like someone unique?
well,
Maybe there's some concerns.
we got this guy talking about it. I don't know who this is,
Yeah,
but you need to have league pass, and then no, stop playing. Well, that's annoying.
you're one pick away.
Yeah, I minimized the app, and he kept playing still. That's annoying. But yeah, no, that's definitely like a super interesting idea. I mean, that's.
I mean, obviously, product market fit, scaling, all kinds of bullshit where it can fail. But if it works, why not? It'd be sweet.
All right. We're going to keep shooting upside here. We're going to take Nick Lodolo, who I'm unfortunately pretty low volume on, and I don't
I have a
necessarily
lot
wanna
of Lodoto.
Okay. Yeah.
Like
and
me the Nick.
Honestly, I've sort of missed out on it. I don't really have a reason. So it's something. I was watching the Bad Bros stream this afternoon, and they were talking about him, and it made me think, I could be wrong to be out fully on him.
If you watch enough shows, you'll have enough FOMO for every player, and you'll just be back to break even.
That's why I do the show, to give other people FOMO, and I can start.
It's circle of FOMO life. I get it.
Yeah,
that's how we get efficient ADPs.
Yeah, we'll take Bayo here. 20.
Not crazy on 15. Him personally.
Yeah, I'm not either. I think the upside is higher on Lodolo, but I'm going to take him because I think, I don't know, I might end up at 7 or 8 pitchers here, so I still have room to mix in another pitcher.
Obviously, this is an impossible question to answer, but I'm gonna give you something to work with, anyways.
All right.
Where do you draw the line on when to go 8?
Almost never.
I'm mostly there as well. So I'm trying to think of how extreme my examples need to be. Not having an outfielder around 5 is probably not quite it, but it's one of those I could argue that like, okay, I'm weakest at the shallowest position. Maybe I try to get.
Yeah. Here, let me unmute. Your mic is not connected. Mike, your mic. There you go. Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, I am my mic like a moron. Mic drop.
That's the kind of humor we like on this show.
That was a good one. All right, I'm coming up here pretty soon. I'm probably staring at Matt Chapman. Cardi talked a lot about him. Somebody that ranks quite highly. Somebody that, if I recall, he had a bad season, but like he had a bad homer season, but his doubles were like pretty good. And if that's true, which I'm not 100% it is, but if that's true, then I like to believe doubles and home runs are just a little bit of variance combined with each other. Obviously that may not necessarily be true, but a lot of the times you're near homers or doubles and so on and so forth. So that was a thought that I had.
Yeah. Essentially, all of his fly balls went to the opposite side of the field. It was all oppo stuff. That was where.
And that's not how that's not his usual swing.
I don't think, not to that extreme.
Gotcha.
Like, he was hitting the ball hard still.
All right, pick your favorite between JP Sears, Patrick Sandoval, and John Gray. Those are my pitchers I'm debating between.
Flip a coin.
I took John Gray.
Like none of those stand out over the other to me.
I mean, they're the highest undrafted pitchers on the board.
Yeah,
right.
here's an answer. Easy agrees, and kind of what I was going to talk about. 8 pitchers or 8 infielders, rarely, but 8 outfielders just due to the projections on the late outfielders. Like putting 8, how much does that actually help your team over the long run? You've sort of made your bed already in the early picks he took at outfielder. So what is tacking on that? Whereas adding a 7th infielder, has a lot more chance of hitting that flex more weeks than your 8th outfielder. I think that's my general plan and something I've thought more about this year on how I'm filling the flex on weeks, and that just the projections on infielders at the end just have a better chance of doing that over a few weeks of the season.
The very last thing you said you think infielders have a better chance at the end of the draft of filling in that flex spot. Is that what I was hearing?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, I think the one lesson that I've grasped early on is that infielder is so much more replaceable than either of the other positions. It is so much deeper. Now, obviously, there's 5 infielders to 3 outfielders. Okay, fine. Outfielders get a couple of DHs. So what? It's, and you could even say like you throw out second base is not even a good position. There's not even that many good second base. So it still doesn't even matter. I find even though most of the high picks are outfielders, it's mostly scarcity position related. There's so many more infielders that I just consider replaceable. All these guys that you can take at the end of a draft, they might be projected to be the 100th best batter overall, but you can get him at the end of the draft, right? And there's this clump of guys that, and I'm going to end up taking a few of them here. Chapman and Berger are great examples. I'm pretty sure the bat has these guys really highly rated. There's a lot of factors that, playing time not being a strength in the preseason model is a bit concerning, But obviously, Cardi's been filtering for 15 years as to what the best sources are. So, I'm just going to roll with it for now.
All right. Bryce Miller has fallen to us here. We're going to take him as pitcher number 7 and close up shop at pitcher, even though we started late. Again, I'm not going to add a pitcher here. I'm just not going to do it. You can't make me, Mike.
I'm all right with 7 with that team.
Yeah, so we're gonna fill in 2 infielders. Have some interesting options here. Let's see here. Who's got a little bit of ceiling here? I think I'm just going to continue this big, I guess it's not too big, this infield Boston stack and put Vaughn Grisham here and hope that he has finally, with opportunity in the majors, he can just put together a decent season. So what do you got coming up here?
I'm at 6-6-6 split right now.
Okay. Because you said with your 2 infields, you did talk about going for infielder. Obviously, that didn't come together. You got some nice, that Berger and Chapman there.
Yeah, I think I definitely need another outfielder with this team, I think. Castellanos, Jazz, Riley Green, Jung-Hoo Lee, Christopher Morel, MJ Melendez just doesn't inspire me at any place.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because, like, as much as we want to talk about structure and, like, blah, 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 I want to do this many times, or, this is how I want to build. Sometimes at the end, you're just like, I think I want an outfielder.
I'm not feeling this
Right.
squad. So, yeah, I mean, we started late with outfield, and outfield's the toughest position to be thin at. Brandon Marsh will fit my stack nicely. I got Stott and Castellanos so far.
Okay. Yeah, he did have a knee cleanup. But he's supposed to be ready for the season.
A number 7 guy can take 4 weeks off. I'm all right with that.
Yeah. Well, he's supposed to be ready by the time the season rolls around. But just a recent news item that has popped up.
All right. So last but not least, Javier Baez comes to mind. I have Riley Green. I think I'm going to just roll with that. He was always a guy the bat had rated like egregiously in daily, and I rostered him a lot. And sometimes he let me down, but sometimes he did some things.
Yeah, and he's not drafted in every draft.
Yeah, and I'm going to be the guy that's always going to be pushing for. I like having 3 or 4 guys on my teams that are not drafted. That's just how I play. I want to be, especially in this conversation where I'm saying people are replaceable, right? So at this part of the draft, infielders, Tommy Edman, Cronenworth, Polanco, Estrada, Ty France, Perez, we've talked about a lot of these guys. They're all replaceable. Sean Murphy doesn't get drafted. That seems crazy to me still. Brandon Lowe. These guys have plenty of upside. Take a few of them at the end. If they're not on anybody's team, boom, everyone's happy. Try to win.
Yeah, so Wallner, Henry Davis, Nelson Velasquez are some pretty trendy names here at the end for outfielders. But Easy was making fun of you here. Surely adding the 7th outfielder will make you excited about it.
The 70th best outfielder. Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Buddy, there's only so many options.
So looking at Grill Belichick here, he does have Musgrove, Green. We had talked about him not having the pitcher. Giolito, Morton, Kikuchi, Gore, and he mixes in an interesting undrafted.
I love Adam Duvall, man.
Adam Duvall.
Because if he plays, he's gonna hit bombs, and if he doesn't play, then it was a bad pick, right? But what else can you ask for out of your last round?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually really
No.
like the group that he ended up with.
No, nobody's laughing about Matt Wallner. We are all pretty pro Matt Wallner.
There will be no Puka Nakuas and any futures. that might be a once in a sport thing that happened. I'm not buying.
All right, we are just going to go with unstacked.
Take Brandon Lowe. You have a don't you have a Ray? You took a Ray in there somewhere.
I'm not drafting Brandon Lowe.
Boo this man. Boo.
There's
exactly
no Matt Wallner haters here. I don't care about
I don't
football.
even know who Matt Wallner is. I can't hate on him.
So yeah, no, I am.
Right, he's an outfielder for somebody.
Yeah, I'm just not in on Brandon Lowe's health. It's
can't project health.
Fair enough.
No, I'm slightly kidding, but realistically, I try to remind myself that all the time. Like, obviously, perfectly, guys that can play many years near full seasons can miss a full season instantly. Guys that have had shaky past can suddenly start getting it together and be healthy. All that's possible.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, the
what you're saying
playing
is real,
time
though.
when he's healthy, and just that
the Rays platoon a lot. That is a real thing,
right? Yeah, and
so that can affect weekly upside.
But he does have upside and he's a lefty, so he can face a bunch of righties in a week. And yeah, so I don't begrudge anybody. I'm just personally out. Yeah. So yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, really excited to be out here doing best ball content. Nice to have you here, expert. I think this is the first night.
You considered that content? I was just messing around. I was just having
well,
fun
okay.
Off.
Well, that's what
Matt, you're the expert. I apologize. Thanks for having this feeble person.
Oh no, I'm not an expert. I just talk a lot. That's all. But no, that's what I've liked about this year. Having started the Stacking Dinger show, I can put my analysis hat on for that and really think through those, and then just come here and talk baseball and rip some drafts and just
bro. We're just here to rip some drafts. It's Friday night. Let's rip some drafts.
Thank you, Al, for coming. So yeah, for Mike and myself, thank you everybody out here, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks again.